Hello, I'm Jonasz Rewiński and you're watching Break the Fake. They make them, we break them, and tell you everything you need to know. Last night, pro-Kremlin media outlets once again began running what seemed to literally be an ad campaign for the Russian military. Channels reported on alleged Russian strikes on military and energy facilities in Ukraine. At least 10 targets were allegedly destroyed. Kremlin press secretary Dmitry Peskov claimed that the Russian armed forces successfully struck Ukrainian military infrastructure, but Russia remains interested in continuing negotiations. Yet, as can be expected from the Russians, it was all false advertising, really. Apart from the fact that Russian missiles hit their targets, nothing else was even remotely like the Kremlin described it.
Сегодня украинские власти заявили о том, что Россия нанесла серию ударов по центру Киева, повлекшие жертвы среди гражданского населения. Министерство обороны России, в свою очередь, сообщило о нанесении группового удара по военным объектам Украины. Не усматривает ли Кремль здесь противоречия с заявлениями Москвы о желании достичь прогресса на мирных переговорах?
Специальная военная операция продолжается. Вы видите, что также продолжаются удары, собственно, по объектам российской инфраструктуры, причем зачастую по российской мирной инфраструктуре со стороны киевского режима. Свои задачи выполняют и российские вооруженные силы. Они, как было заявлено, продолжают бить по объектам военной и околовоенной инфраструктуры. Удары успешные, цели уничтожаются, специальная военная операция продолжается. Одновременно с этим Россия сохраняет свою заинтересованность в продолжении переговорного процесса с тем, чтобы именно политико-дипломатическими средствами достигнуть тех целей, которые перед нами стоят.
So, let's break it down. Moscow said military targets. Fact check. Russian drones and missiles attacked residential buildings in Kiev, shopping centers and passenger trains. Doesn't look like military targets to me. Also, Moscow said it's interested in pursuing peace talks. Let's see. The strike resulted in at least 23 deaths and about 50 people injured. A 2-year-old child was among the casualties. And now tell me, how is this supposed to look peaceful? Russian propagandists clearly believe that if they say, strike on military targets, then no one will check the city map. The thing is, it's not just us who decided to take a second look. Keith Kellogg, Trump's Ukraine envoy, wasn't particularly thrilled to see Putin's handiwork. Here is what he said on X, and I quote, Last night, Russia launched the second largest aerial attack of the war, with 600 drones and 31 missiles. The targets? Not soldiers and weapons, but residential areas in Kyiv. End of quote. Also, Senator Lindsey Graham, Trump's sanctions specialist, by the way, posed the following question after the tragic attack. India, China, Brazil, and others who prop up Putin's war machine by buying cheap Russian oil. How do you feel right now that your purchases have resulted in innocent civilians, including children, being killed? End of quote. And in case these countries feel nothing at all, he reminded everyone India's already being slapped with extra tariffs, with more to follow for other offenders on the list. And to quote a well-known Mandalorian saying, "This is the way." The governor of the occupied Kherson region has recently been trying to show his beloved Vladimir Putin the economic potential of the region. Almost 2 million hectares of arable land and a harvest of 1.3 million tons, even in difficult conditions, despite the lack of land reclamation system. According to him, with a proper irrigation system, the harvest could be doubled. Thing is, it's not irrigation that Russia has been using to make tons of cash in Ukraine. No, it has a different method, and it's called theft.
Сильный потенциал Херсонской области, все-таки левобережье в особенности, это почти 2 миллиона гектар пахотной земли. Даже в условиях отсутствия мелиорации все равно собрали урожай более 1,3 миллионов тонн. Хотя это мало, это в 2 раза меньше. Если бы работала система мелиорации, конечно же, было бы намного больше. А в связи с тем, что...
На гектар сколько получается?
Упала урожайность сейчас до 19 центнеров. Это мало. Вообще-то средняя урожайность по Херсонской области, когда работает мелиорация, еще 2 засушливых лета, очень засушливых. Вот, поэтому...
Сколько у вас там? Под 40?
Here is the thing. Back in 2022, on the orders of Russian-installed Governor Vladimir Saldo, 3 barges transported $360,000 worth of barley stored in the warehouses of the Kherson bread products plant from Kherson, as the name implies. Now, it has also been documented that Russian companies stole and exported more than 30,000 tons of grain from the occupied part of the Kherson region in 2023. In reality, the volume of illegal exports, however, is much larger than that. After seizing part of Ukrainian territory, Russia nationalized local agriculture enterprises and established the export of Ukrainian grain grown on these lands. In 2023, at least 34,000 tons of agricultural products were sold abroad from the occupied Kherson region for a total of 6.2 million euros. This was discovered by the Belarusian Investigative Center during a joint investigation with Ukrainian hackers from Kiborg. So, yeah, Russia's latest business plan seems to be grab somebody else's harvest, throw it into the export market, and profit. I'm sure some local Russian officials can now buy themselves a brand new Bentley Bentayga SUV, a Patek Philippe timepiece maybe, and probably a shipping container of Labubu dolls. No need to consider the moral aspects here, because for a country that occupies Ukrainian lands by force and commits war crimes, morality is a bit of an abstract concept, you know. Russia is apparently doing a countryside DLC for its ongoing real-life video game, Grand Theft Ukraine, where it's apparently okay to run off with somebody else's toilet seat, or even purloin a whole nuclear power station. Think of this next time, when European leaders drag their feet when asked to seize Russian assets worth billions of dollars. Some are afraid Russia claims the seizure will be theft. Well, with its own track record of having sticky fingers, Moscow has no right to complain. And with this, we conclude this edition of Break the Fake. Please stay with us here on TVP World for more latest news and updates.